What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Thursday, August 29th. Wednesday went pretty well. Once again, continuing this hot run here, guys. We got off to a pretty slow start. We had the under in that Oakland-Cincinnati game, which was looking great through 6 innings, but 7, 8, and 9, those innings did not go our way. Eventually, that under did not hit. We had Toronto plus 135. That was a 3-0 loss there for Toronto. Bassett was very good, but Bello was insane, giving up only 2 hits over 8 innings of work. After that, guys, it was all wins, all clear sailing. We had Atlanta minus 140. That was a 5-1 win thanks to a great start there from Sale. We had the over in that Giants-Milwaukee Brewers game. It took until the 8th inning, but we got there in a 5-3 Milwaukee Brewers win. We also had Arizona minus 120. That was an 8-5 win thanks in large part to a grand slam there in the 8th inning. So another win, put that one on the board, and we finished things off strong there, guys, with the over in that Orioles-LA Dodgers game. Over 8.5, we had gotten there by the top of the 5th inning. So easy stuff there. Definitely take those wins. Another winning day. Let's get after it here with the weekend getting close. Before we jump into the games, though, guys, hit that like button. We are giving away 1 week of premium picks at stumpthespread.com to one random person who has liked the video and also left a comment below. We've gotten close enough to 1K that I'm getting ready to just run the giveaway to show our appreciation. If you're new around here or haven't already, subscribe to the channel for free to get notifications on our daily uploads, and you can now sign up for a channel membership. We're working on some members perks for the channel, so stay tuned for that. Our videos are sponsored by stumpthespread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below to get in on the giveaway, and with any bets you're looking at today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Detroit Tigers. The Angels come into this game fresh off of another tough loss, guys. They've now lost 7 straight games to fall to 54-79 on the year. They're the very last place team in the AL West. Not really the season that Angels or their fans would have envisioned, although I don't think it's too big of a stretch to think this team was going to have a hard time. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Jack Kohanowitz, who comes into this game 1-3 on the year with a 6.08 ERA. His last, I would say, 3 starts have been pretty reasonable, guys. His last time out, he did have some problems at the Toronto Blue Jays. Is on the road at Toronto, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs allowed in a game the Angels eventually lost 5-4. I mean, we're talking about a 23-year-old pitcher here going up against major league hitters, guys, and he's keeping his team in these games. Good start against Atlanta, 6 innings, 7 hits, only 2 earned runs in that one. A decent start at the Nationals, 7 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs in that one. So, like I said, guys, he's been throwing the ball relatively well. He's about to go up against a Tigers team that is not exactly the hardest hitting opponent, so I think there's a chance we see a good outing here from this toweringly tall young pitcher. Expecting good stuff from him, not necessarily expecting the same from that bullpen, guys. The Angels bullpen, not great this season, a 4.16 ERA coming out of the pen. Not really something that's going to be helping them win very many games. And honestly, is that really even the goal of the Angels right now? It's tough to say, but yeah, it's just been a little bit of a rough year for them, especially at the plate, guys. Over their last few games, they've scored 2, 2, 2, 1, and 4 runs, respectively. That is real freaking bad, guys. They're 27th in the majors in runs scored, 26th in the majors, batting .232 as a team. They're 25th in the majors in on-base percentage, getting on base at only a .303 clip. That is not great. And their slugging percentage is .371. That is 27th in the major league. So yeah, not a lot of positive stuff for me to say about the Angels bats right now. We're not seeing a lot of guys hit the ball well, and yeah, just not a lot of positives out there for this team at the plate. And looking at their opponent in this game, they're taking on the Tigers, who are actually playing some of their best ball of the season. They've now won 6 straight games, which is pretty impressive. 68-66 on the year. Not really what I thought we were going to see from this team when they were trading away guys there at the trade deadline. So yeah, the Tigers kind of putting together an interesting push here later in the season. They're hitting the ball to Keeter Montero, who's 4-5 this year with a 5.15 ERA. His last start was a pretty solid one, guys. It was against the White Sox, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Not really amazing stuff against the White Sox, but his start before that was against the Yankees, and he was even better. Yeah, he went 5 innings, allowed 2 hits and 0 0 runs. He struck out 5 and walked 2 against the Yankees. That is very solid stuff. Honestly, over his last 4 starts, I would say 3 of them were very good, and the one at the San Francisco Giants wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't like a complete implosion. So yeah, right now, honestly, guys, we're pretty happy with what we're seeing from Keter Montero. Not something I thought I'd be saying earlier in the year, but once again, we've got a young guy out here on the mound, like not somebody that's got a ton of experience, so expect some ups and downs. In terms of ups and downs, what have we been getting from that Tigers bullpen? Well, I would say they're on an up right now, guys. They're in the top half of the majors with a 3.93 bullpen ERA, so very little to be upset about there. I don't think you would expected miracles really from this bullpen, and for them to be in the top half of the majors feels like something of a success. Looking at their offense, that's been a struggle for them this season, generally speaking, but recently they've been swinging the bats all right. I mean, they're obviously coming off a game where they only scored 3 runs, so we're not going to be freaking out about that, but 3, 6, 6, 9, and 13 runs over the last few games is very, very respectable stuff. We've seen Colt Keith really come alive here. He's batting .264 on the year. He's putting up some decent numbers. We've seen good numbers pretty much all season long from Riley Green, at least when he's been available. Over the course of the year, this team is 18th in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors, batting only .234 as a team, though. That leaves a lot to be desired. Their slugging percentage numbers aren't terrible, but a .390 slugging percentage isn't great, and they're 28th in the majors there and on base percentage. So plenty of questions here for me about this Tigers offense, and plenty of questions for me about the Angels offense as well. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Angels at +142. We've got the Tigers at -157. We've got an over-under in this game of 9. That's kind of interesting. The Angels are 27-38 on the road. The Tigers are 32-32 at home. We don't see any meaningful trends here towards the over-under. Both teams are basically 50-50 over-under teams in this situation. In terms of a side in this game, I think it could be a pretty close, pretty low-scoring game, and that makes me think the Angels at +142 actually have some sort of chance here. That's not my favorite lean in this game, though, guys. I think under 9 is extremely live in this spot. I know we don't have any big trends to back it up, but we don't have any trends pointed in the opposite direction, and we do have 2 young pitchers going out there, but they're going up against not the hardest hitting opponents. I know the Tigers have been swinging some pretty hot bats, but they're not coming off of their best game so far, and so far in the series, the most runs we've seen scored is 8. Guys, over under of 9, I'm definitely taking a good hard look at that under. Next on the docket, we're looking at the San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Giants coming to this game fresh off of a 5-3 loss there at Milwaukee in Game 2. They're now 1-1 in this series so far. We did see Peralta have a very good outing in that one for the Brewers, so give him some credit there. San Francisco 67-67 on the season. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to young Hayden Birdsong, who's 3-3 on the year with a 4.57 ERA. His last start was a very, very good one, albeit against the Seattle Mariners, but still, we're giving the young guy credit. 4 innings, 1 hit, 4 walks, so that's not great, and 5 strikeouts, but he gave up 0 runs. That's the important part, and he's given up a grand total of 1 earned run over his last 2 starts, so it seems like he's back on track here after rough outings against Detroit and Washington. We'll see what he can do here against the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, they are a little bit of a tougher hitting team, but yeah, he's a young guy, so you expect some inconsistency, but I'm expecting something pretty positive from him in this one, and in terms of the bullpen that he's got behind him, though, that can be pretty problematic. The Giants bullpen clearly in the bottom half of the majors, guys. A 4.16 bullpen ERA. Not what they were hoping for this season. That's not gonna support the pitching staff very well. It's gonna put a lot of pressure on the starting pitchers and a lot of pressure on that offense. And speaking of the offense, guys, the Giants not having the greatest time recently. They've scored 3, 5, 3, 4, and 5 runs over their last few games. They haven't been an amazing offensive team this season, just slightly below below MLB average. I guess we've seen some decent stuff from Matt Chapman, but nobody batting .246 is really gonna get me that excited. The Giants are 16th in the majors in runs scored, 17th in the majors in batting average, batting .242 as a team. They're 17th in on base percentage, getting on base at just over 300 clip, and not a great slugging percentage team either. So yeah, we'll see what the offense could do in this matchup going up against the Brewers, who come into this game cruising along here. They've got a 9-game cushion in the NL Central. This squad really doesn't have any pressure on them whatsoever. At 76-56 on the year, they pretty much can just lock this thing up. They're going to be handing the ball to Aaron Savale in this game, who's 4-8 this season with a 4.84 ERA. He's coming off of a very mediocre start against the Oakland A's. 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, including a home run allowed. Definitely a step back after a lights-out outing for him against the Cleveland Guardians. Yeah, guys, I mean, this isn't somebody that I'm super crazy high on. He's had some ups and downs since getting acquired by Milwaukee. It seems like he might be settling in here a little bit, so maybe he'll have a good start here against the Giants, but it's very, very hard to tell. One nice thing for the Brewers, though, it doesn't really matter that much if he has an amazing start. If he has to come out early, that bullpen can just step right in and fill the void. They're currently first in the majors in bullpen ERA with an ERA of 2.74 coming out of the pen. That is very, very lights out stuff, guys. So expecting good stuff from the bullpen, if not necessarily from Savale. And what do we expect from this offense? They're not exactly killing it right now either, guys. 5, 4, 3, 9, and 11 runs over their last few. Yeah, that was fun right there where they scored 20 runs over 2 games at Oakland, but that is not going to be the norm for this team that's going to be living without Yelich for the rest of the year. They're 11th in the majors in runs scored, 8th in the majors in batting average, 3rd in on-base percentage, but these are all numbers that are going to be trending downward here for quite a while before they find a new normal. I'm a little bit worried about this offense. I'm going to be honest, guys. It's not one that I think is going to have an amazing time, but yeah, they've shown sparks. Like, this isn't going to be a horrible offense, I don't think. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Giants at plus 120, the Brewers at minus 138. We've got over-unders out there showing of 8.5. The Giants, pretty bad road team, guys. 29 and 37 on the road. Milwaukee, a solid home team at 38 and 25 at home. In terms of the over-under here, guys, we've got both teams actually showing trends towards the over. The Giants are 38, 25, and 3 to the over on the road, and Milwaukee is 36, 21, and 6 to the over at home. We've got an over-under of only 8.5 in this game. I don't see either one of these guys necessarily having a lights-out performance. So in terms of the side, I do maybe slightly side towards the Brewers at minus 138, although that's not a price I'm in love with. However, guys, I really like the over in this one. I think we're going to see plenty of offense in this game with neither starting pitcher really, thrilling me in this spot, and both offenses definitely capable of putting up some runs. So go ahead and give me over 8.5 in this one. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. We got the Rangers coming into this game fresh off of wins in each of the first 2 games of this series. It hasn't necessarily been pretty, guys, but they've gotten the job done at 62 and 71 on the year, though. Not really sure how meaningful these wins are going to be. The Rangers are going to be handing the ball to Nathan Eovaldi in this game. He's 9 and 7 this season with a 3.79 ERA. His last start, not an amazing one at Cleveland, guys. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs allowed. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in each of his last 3 outings, albeit against some pretty tough opponents. So we'll cut the guy a little bit of slack, but maybe I'm not thrilled with how he's throwing the ball right now, but he's about to go up against the White Sox, guys. The last time he faced them was back on July 24th, and he was very, very good. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs in a game we eventually saw the Rangers win 10-2. So pretty solid stuff there. Eovaldi's had a good season, not gonna lie. I expect him to use the White Sox as kind of a get-right spot for him in this game. And in terms of their bullpen, how worried do we have to be about the Rangers? Well, guys, they're 24th in the majors with a 4.42 bullpen ERA, so I would say relatively worried, except for they're going up against the White Sox. That makes everything an awful lot easier. So we'll see what the bullpen looks like in this one. I'm not expecting it to be a huge problem. In terms of their offense, that's been a little bit scary here down the stretch, guys. They've scored 4, 3, 2, 5, and 5 runs over their last few games. Yeah, not swinging the hottest bats, guys. Corey Seager leading the way, and he's done some great stuff. But yeah, 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 21st in the majors, batting .237 as a team. Like, this is not an elite offense. 24th in slugging percentage. Like, I have plenty of question marks here. And even though they're going up against the Chicago White Sox, who come into this game on another losing streak, guys, they've lost 6 in a row now. They are 31 and 103 on the year. Yikes. That is a real big yikes there. We don't have a confirmed starter for them yet, and if that leads to a bullpen type of start, that's a huge problem for the White Sox. They have not had the best pitching staff this season. 5.06 ERA coming out of the pen. Really, really depressing stuff. Obviously, they're trying to, limit the wear and tear on any of their, good starting pitching, and they want to reserve their, arms for maybe next year when things could matter a little bit more, be a little bit less depressing, but really, this is a team with nothing to play for right now and not a very good bullpen. Also, the offense, guys, has been abysmal. 3, 1, 3, 4, and 4 runs over the last few games. They are dead last in the majors in runs scored. They are dead last in the the majors in on-base percentage. They're only getting on base at a 278 clip, guys. Like, that is just crazy, crazy bad. They're also dead last in slugging percentage. So nothing good to say about this offense. The odds makers agree with me, guys. We've got the Rangers at minus 220, the White Sox at plus 200. We've got over-unders out there of 9 or 8.5. The Rangers are 27-40 on the road, so a terrible road team, but the White Sox are the worst home team in Major League Baseball, 18-49 at home this year. In terms of the over-under, we've got some mixed trends here. Texas is an over team on the road. The White Sox are an under team at home, with over-unders out there of 9 or 8.5. I don't really know if I have a big lean on that one. I do expect the Rangers to win this game. If you wanted to take a minus 1.5, I guess you could squeeze out a little bit of extra value, but that feels maybe slightly sketchy to me. But regardless, this just isn't a game that I have a ton of great things to say about. I guess give me the Rangers in this one, maybe at minus 1.5, but I'm staying away myself. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Padres come into this game fresh off of a tough walk-off loss there. We saw Arenado hit a 9th inning single to give the Cardinals the 4-3 win there in Game 3 of that series, so that had to be a little bit tough for the Padres and all of their supporters, but they won the first 2 games of this series, and they probably don't feel too terrible about being 76-59 on the season. They're hitting the ball in this one to Michael King, who's 11-7 this year with a 3.14 ERA. His last start was against the Mets, and it was a weird, pretty rocky outing. 5 innings, 3 hits, 5 runs allowed. Only one of them was earned, though. Weird stuff there in a game the Padres eventually lost 7-1. But yeah, his starts before that were all very, very good over his last 5. You know, the 4 starts before that start against the Mets all looked very, very good. I think King could definitely use this as something of a bounce back start. And just generally speaking, I've liked what I've seen from him this season. So expecting good stuff from him, expecting decent but not elite stuff from that bullpen coming from the Padres, guys. I mean, a 3.90 ERA coming out of the pen is not terrible. It's somewhere around MLB average. Definitely not something we're, looking at as a huge negative, but, keep an eye on that bullpen. It's not like 100% every time they get handed the ball, they're going to lock things down. So we'll see what we get out of the pitching staff for the Padres. I'm expecting generally positive things in terms of their offense. Obviously, yesterday, not having a great time scoring only 3 runs, but they've scored 3, 7, 7, 3, 1, and 7 over their last few games. They're 9th in the majors in runs scored this year. They're the top batting average team in the MLB, batting .265 as a squad. That's pretty impressive. 6th best in the majors in on-base percentage. They are a top 10 slugging percentage team. Like, not a lot of negatives for me to find about this offense. I mean, except for the fact they're coming off of a poor performance, which kind of makes me think they're poised to bounce back a little bit here. So we'll see what they can do out there going up against the Cardinals, who come into this one fresh off of that much needed walk-off win. They're 66-67 on the year, so not exactly where they want to be. They're hitting the ball to Sonny Gray. He's 11-9 this season with a 4.07 ERA. Really struggling here, as he goes deeper into the season, not having a great time. His last start was at the Twins, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs allowed, in a 6-0 loss there for the Cardinals. He's given up 2, 1, 3, 1, and 1 home runs over his last 5 starts. That is a big concern also for a guy that's supposed to be an ace. So, yeah, just not really very excited about what we're seeing from Sonny Gray right now. It's been pretty problematic here down the stretch. Honestly, the Cardinals' bullpen, on the other hand, though, has been really, holding its own. They're 7th in the majors with a 3.65 bullpen ERA. This pen was absolutely a disaster early in the season. It was part of the reason the Cardinals were struggling so bad. The bigger part was this terrible offense, which we're going to get into in a minute. But, yeah, the bullpen has really come together here and has become one of the bigger strengths of this team. The problem, guys, is the Cardinals' offense. They've scored 4, 5, 4, 3, 0, and 6 runs over their last few games. We just haven't seen Arenado or Goldschmidt really, get things going here at all this season. Those are 2 big pillars of this Cardinals offense. They needed those guys to have good seasons. If they're both looking at, maybe not career years, but, above their career average numbers, this whole entire season would look different for St. Louis, but that has just not been what's happened, guys. The Cardinals are 24th in the majors in runs scored, 13th in the majors in batting average, so that's nice, but 22nd in slugging percentage and 16th in the majors getting on base at a 311 clip. They're obviously missing Contreras. They're hoping to get him back this season, but I don't think that's really going to matter the way things are looking right now for St. Louis. So yeah, lots of question marks about the Cardinals in this game and just in general right now. And looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Padres at minus 104, the Cardinals at minus 105. We've got an over-under of 8 in this one. The Padres 38-26 on the road, the Cardinals 33-32 at home. We've got mixed trends towards the over-under here, and with an over-under of 8, I don't think I'm super interested in that, but I am a bit interested in the Padres at -104. I don't trust Sonny Gray anymore, guys. He's going to have to really do some positive things before I start thinking positively of him. I'm not going to say I think this is a lock or anything. I do have some concerns about Michael King, but the Cardinals in a bit of a letdown spot after that walk-off last night and just not a very good team, so go ahead and give me the Padres at -104. It seems like a very reasonable price. Next up, guys, we look at the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. We've got the Marlins coming into this game fresh off of an 8-2 loss at Colorado in Game 3 of that series. Going into Game 4 here, hoping they can maybe come up with a split, but at 48-85 in the year, things have not exactly been smooth sailing for the Marlins this season. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Volante Balazo, who comes into this game 2-2 on the year with a 3.35 ERA. Once again, we got another young starting pitcher being ran out there by the Marlins. His last outing was not a great one. It was at Wrigley Field against the Cubs. 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. 5 of them were earned. He had 3 home runs in that game. His last couple of starts just have not been as good as he looked, there for a little bit. He had a lights out start against the Phillies, threw very good 5 2/3 innings against the Reds. Like, he's shown good stuff, but inconsistent like you'd expect any 24-year-old to be. We'll see what he comes up with in this one. I mean, it's not like he's going against the toughest opponent, so that at least helps a little bit, but I've definitely got my questions about him, and I've got some questions about this Marlins bullpen that just continues to get worse here as the season goes on. A 4.08 ERA coming out of the pen doesn't exactly fill me with lots of optimism. So worried about the Marlins pitching staff at least a little bit in this spot, and we're always going to be a bit worried about this offense, guys. They've scored 2, 9, 2, 7, and 2 runs over their last few games. Seems like an on and off switch for this team. I mean, they're 29th in the majors in runs scored and 29th in the majors in on base percentage. So really not expecting any miracles from an offense putting up those kind of numbers, obviously. And yeah, guys, just, trading away your best offensive player at the trade deadline, not really going to make things easier. We've seen pretty good stuff from Jake Berger over the course of the season, but like I said, not an offense that we're very scared of, and I doubt the Rockies are very scared of it either, guys. Colorado comes into this game 50-84 on the year, so not exactly, cruising along themselves. They are handing the ball in this one to Bradley Blaylock, who comes into this game 1-0 on the year with a 3.06 ERA. He was previously with Milwaukee, guys. He's going to be making his 4th start here for the Colorado Rockies, and honestly, he's looked pretty freaking good. I would assume that Milwaukee's probably a little bit devastated they let him go, as they're a team that definitely needs pitching, and starts against the Yankees, the Padres, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. He has not given up more than 3 earned runs. He's been very, very good. He's only given up 1 home run over those 3 starts. Like, that is elite competition out there, and he has just been cruising along. So really expecting very good stuff from him in this one. You're always going to be very, very worried about that Rockies bullpen, though, guys. Worst in the majors, a 5.65 bullpen ERA is just embarrassingly terrible. So yeah, not expecting anything good once he comes out of the game, but while he's still in there, I think we're going to see Blaylock have a pretty good time. And yeah, are we going to see the Rockies offense have a good time? Well, not super high on their opponent in this one, and they're coming off a game they scored 8 runs. They scored 8, 8, 3, 3, and 9 runs over their last few games. That's some pretty positive stuff. Over the course of the season, what does the Rockies offense look like? Not quite as good as you would hope an offense that gets to play half their games at Coors Field would look, but they are MLB average in terms of batting average. They're above MLB average in slugging percentage, so that's nice, but 20th in the majors in runs scored and 20th in the majors in on-base percentage leaves lots of room for improvement for this offense here down the stretch. So we'll see what we actually get out of them. I think I'm feeling all right about the way they're swinging the bats right now, and looking at the numbers for this game, I guess the odds makers are as well. We've got the Marlins at +105, the Rockies at -118. We've got an over-under of 11.5 in this game. Miami 23-40 on the road. Colorado 30-32 at home, so not a joke at home. And yeah, looking at the price here, I mean, the Rockies -118 is looking very, very appealing. In terms of the over-under, we actually have both teams showing pretty significant trends towards the under. Even in this situation, I mean, an over-under of 11.5, that's a lot of runs, but I don't hate how each of these pitchers is throwing the ball, so I would definitely lean under 11.5, but guys, I think the real value in this game is on the Rockies -118. Loving what we're seeing here from Bradley Blaylock, and yeah, I'm not really sold here on Volante Balazo, so yeah, go ahead and give me the Rockies in this one. Definitely has a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just go ahead and click that link in the description. It'll take you right over to stumpthespread.com. Also, guys, just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting in the emails and in the comments, I am not the MLB capper for stumpthespread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I am seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers MLB and has a very strong algorithm and some very cool tools that he uses to bring our premium members the best picks possible. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Now back to the games. Next up, guys, we're looking at the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We've actually got the Mets and the Diamondbacks playing right now. They're in the middle of the 7th inning with the Mets up 5-4. Arizona had a significant lead in that game. They have given it away, so hopefully they can make something of a comeback here because we are on the Diamondbacks tonight. The Mets come into this game here. They're 69-63 on the year, or we'll see what they'll be after their current game. They're hitting the ball to David Peterson in this one. He's been lights out this year, 8-1 with a 2.85 ERA. His last start was a fantastic one, guys. He was going up against the Padres. It was a 7-1 win there for the Mets, large part in thanks to David Peterson. 7 1/3 innings of work there for him. 5 hits, only a single earned run in that game. He walked 2 and struck out 2. Not a guy that has to put up huge strikeout numbers to be effective. So yeah, really over his last 5 starts, he's been very, very good in all of them. We see the Mets are 4-1 over those outings, with the only loss coming in a crazy, crazy game at the Angels, where he went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits and 2 earned runs. Not really his fault at all that they ended up taking the loss there. So we'll see what he can do out there. Expecting great stuff from him for all the obvious reasons I just listed. In terms of their bullpen, the Mets are not terrible. A 4.03 bullpen ERA is definitely, it's a bullpen that's improved over the course of the season quite a bit. They were one of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball for quite some time, but seems like they figured a few things out, figured out who to trust and in what spots. But yeah, I mean, with an ERA of over 4, still a bullpen that you've got to keep a little bit of an eye on. In terms of their offense, in their current game, they've obviously scored 5 runs, so that's nice. They haven't been swinging the hottest bats necessarily. They did score 8 runs in game 1 of this series, so they'll take that for sure. This is a borderline top 10 offense in the majors. I mean, 10th overall in runs scored, 12th in batting average, but they're 9th in on-base percentage, getting on base at a .321 clip. That's not bad, and they're also a top 10 slugging percentage team. So, not expecting a disaster from this offense necessarily, especially going up against a hard-hitting opponent that, maybe not heavy on the, the pitching. But, yeah, the Mets offense just doesn't really get me going. It's kind of been where I've just, been at with them all season long. So we'll see what they can do here against the Diamondbacks, who come into this one hoping they can have continued their, or got back on track after having their losing streak snapped there in game 1 of this series. The Diamondbacks are handing the ball in this one to Ryan Nelson, who's 9-6 this year with a 4.29 ERA. Last time out, another pretty good start, guys, at the Red Sox. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. He struck out 7 and walked 1 in a game we eventually saw the Diamondbacks win 12-2. So we got all the run support you could possibly want in that spot. And honestly, Ryan Nelson, he's been throwing the ball well recently. He's had some hiccups this season, don't get me wrong. He has not taken on the Mets this year, which I guess that's not a huge surprise. But yeah, generally speaking, we're very, very happy with how he's throwing the ball at the moment. And I would say we feel pretty similarly about that Arizona bullpen that we do about the Mets, guys. They were really bad early in the year. They've improved quite a bit. They're still not like anywhere close to elite level or anything like that, but they're definitely a serviceable bullpen that you can trust to hold on to a lead. I wouldn't say you trust them to hold on to a 1-run lead necessarily, but with this Diamondbacks offense, usually that lead's going to be a few runs. And speaking of that, guys, the Diamondbacks come into this game. Obviously, they're coming off one. They've only scored 4 so far going into the bottom of the 7th, but this is one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball. There's really no way around it, guys. They are 1st in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in the majors, batting .261 as a team. They're also the 2nd best on base percentage team in the majors, getting on base at a .334 clip, and they are top 5 in slugging percentage. Like, this is just an absolutely massively good offense, guys. Maybe they cooled off a little bit here against the Mets. I don't necessarily expect that to continue for very long. I'm expecting good stuff from the Diamondbacks offense although they are going up against a pretty tough opponent in David Peterson. So we'll see what we get out there. Looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Mets at -102, the Diamondbacks at -112. We got an over-under of 9 in this one. The Mets are 33-30 on the road. Arizona is very solid, 37-27 at home. We've also got both teams showing trends towards the over in this spot. The Mets are 33-26-4 to the over when playing on the road, and Arizona is 38-24-2 to the over at home. Generally speaking, how are we leaning in this one, guys? I mean, I feel like I'm leaning slightly towards the Diamondbacks -112 in this spot. I could understand people wanting to take the Mets with Peterson on the mound. That for sure makes sense to me as well. In terms of the over-under in this game of 9, that seems a bit high to me given these two starters. Obviously, we've got two very good offenses and some questionable bullpen play, but I do think we could see the offenses take a little bit of a day off in this one. Maybe under 9 is my slightly bigger play in this spot. I'm really having a hard time finding value in this game. It feels like a toss-up to me. We've got two pretty good starters out there. The Diamondbacks offense definitely seems like it should be better, but they've been struggling a little bit recently. So go ahead and give me under 9 as the smallest of small leans, and we are just going to sit back and watch this one. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Oakland A's going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. Oakland comes into this game playing pretty well, guys. They've won their last 3 in a row, including the first 2 of this series. They're 58-75 on the year, so they're winning despite really not having anything to play for. They're handing the ball in this game to JT Ginn. He comes into this one looking to make a name for himself a little bit. It's going to be his 3rd appearance of the season, but his first start in 2 bullpen appearances. He's been decent. He had a little bit of trouble against Milwaukee. At 25 years old, I think it's definitely time to see what this guy can do out there as a starting pitcher. Oakland has had fairly good luck with their bullpen this season, guys. It's been pretty impressive. They're 8th in the majors now with a 3.67 bullpen ERA, and for a team that's not contending or anything like that, it's a good sign for sure to see that they've got arms like that in the organization. Enough good arms to have a very solid bullpen. So expecting good stuff out of the bullpen, if not necessarily out of the starting pitching, but we'll have to see. I don't necessarily expect him to be a disaster out there. What are we going to get from this Oakland offense? Well, they've been swinging some pretty hot bats, guys. 9-5, 4-5, 3, and 3 runs over their last few games. This has not been an amazing offense over the course of the season, guys. They do have some pieces for sure. I mean, Brent Rooker is a monster. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored, though, and 27th in the majors in batting average. Not an amazing slugging percentage team either. They're 20th in the majors, and 24th in the majors, getting on base at a 303 clip. Like, lots of question marks here for me about this offense, at least over the course of the season, if not recently. They are swinging some warm bats. I have to give them at least credit for warm bats here over their last few games. So we'll see what Oakland can do in this matchup, going up against the Reds, who come into this game losers of 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6 overall. They're 63-70 on the year, despite having one of the most exciting players in the MLB. Just not where Cincinnati was hoping to be at this point in the season. They're handing the ball to Julian Aguilar. He comes into this game 1-0 this season with a 3.60 ERA. He is also going to be making his 3rd appearance of the year and his 3rd start. In both of his first 2 starts, he's been pretty good. They were both on the road, so this will be his first time pitching at the Great American Ballpark this season. His last time out, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs against the Pirates. That is a very solid start, and we also will note the Reds have won in each of his 2 appearances so far. So yeah, a lot of good things to point out for this young 23-year-old. Obviously, he could go out there and lay an absolutely terrible game out there. I mean, he's 23 years old. I'm not expecting miracles. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about the Reds' bullpen as well, guys. They're trending a bit in a negative direction, but a 3.76 bullpen ERA, clearly not the end of the world. This has been a pretty good bullpen team over the course of the season, so we'll see what they continue to get out there. Definitely, offense has been what's held this team back. They've scored 6, 4, 3, and 10 runs over their last few games, which is obviously not that bad of scoring, especially for a team that struggled at the plate like Cincinnati. But yeah, guys, when Elly De La Cruz is leading the way for you with a 264 batting average and 22 home runs, and you're 14th in the majors in runs scored, but 25th in the majors in batting average, I'm going to have lots and lots of questions about this offense. It just doesn't strike me as a very good offensive team, guys. They're getting a little bit banged up, and yeah, just not a lot of positives. 23rd in the majors in on-base percentage, that's going to leave a lot to be desired. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the A's at +115, the Reds at -124. We've got an over-under of 10 in this game. Oakland only 25-40 on the road, so a very bad road team. The Reds 31-36 at home. We've got both teams actually showing trends towards the under. The over-under on this game burned us yesterday. We were on the under and we saw tons of offense. In this spot, guys, I'm definitely not going towards the under with these two very, very young pitchers on the mound. I do, however, think there's some value on the A's at plus 115 playing on the road here. They've been playing pretty well. I don't hate the starter they're putting on the mound. Their offense has looked a little bit better recently. So, yeah, go ahead and give me a taste of Oakland, but this is not going in the pinned comment. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Braves come into this game fresh off of a solid 5-1 win there at Minnesota thanks to a good start there from Chris Sale. We'll definitely take that. He notched his 15th win of the season and helped us bring in some coin there. We had Atlanta at minus 140. The Braves at 73 and 60 on the year are going to be handing the ball in this game to Charlie Morton, who's 7-7 this season with a 4.24 ERA. His last start was a pretty good one, guys, against Washington, and I would say over his last 3 outings, he's been very, very good in all of them. We will note those were also all wins for the Atlanta Braves, so good on Uncle Charlie. He's getting it done out there. Proud of him. Yeah, a little bit worried about him in this particular matchup. He hasn't gone up against elite hitting and seen a ton of success. I mean, the last good offensive team he faced was Milwaukee. He got absolutely shelled by them. He hasn't faced the Phillies yet this season, but he had bad starts against the Yankees, a bad start against the Diamondbacks. Like, just doesn't seem like somebody that's poised to have a very good outing against an elite hitting team. In terms of their bullpen, obviously Atlanta's been very good this year, a 3.33 bullpen ERA. Nothing wrong with that. They've been one of the best 2 or 3 bullpens in Major League Baseball all season long. The offense has come alive, which has been a very, very nice development for Atlanta that struggled at the plate, generally speaking, recently, but they've scored 5, 8, and 10 runs in that series at Minnesota, so very, very good stuff there. We've seen lots of guys hit the ball well for them over this little stretch, but yeah, does this offense have the legs to really keep it rolling here? It's going to be interesting to see. They're 17th in the majors in runs scored, 16th in the majors in batting average, 18th in the majors and on base percentage. Like, a lot falls on the shoulders of Ozuna, so we'll see what they can get done here going up against the Phillies, who come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 against Houston. They won 2 out of 3 against Kansas City in the series before that, and they're about to take on a team that just beat them 2 out of 3 at Atlanta, so now they get a chance for revenge. The Phillies are going to be handing the ball in this game to Christopher Sanchez, who's 9-9 on the season with a 3.51 ERA. He was lights out early in the year. He's had some struggles here recently, but he did have a complete game, not shutout, but a complete game performance against the Nationals. That was a pretty nice one, and his last start was at the Atlanta Braves, guys. He went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits, and 3 earned runs, so not really going to say that's a lockdown appearance. That's a little bit concerning, and he's got to go up against them again right away. So yeah, a little bit worried about Sanchez in this spot. I don't think it's a disaster spot for him, but just a little bit concerned. And what do we think of that Phillies bullpen? Well, not a lot of positive thoughts about him, guys. They are sporting a 4.04 bullpen ERA down in the bottom half of the majors. Just not a bullpen that you can really trust. They've gotten handed lots of leads this season, and a lot of leads have evaporated. So we'll see what their bullpen can do in this one. We'll also see what those Phillies bats can continue to do. Definitely in a bounce back spot after getting just destroyed out there by Arrighetti in that last game against Houston. They got shut out. They lost 10-0 in that one. So definitely a bounce back spot here for one of the better offenses in Major League Baseball. They're 6th in the MLB in runs scored, 5th in the MLB in batting average. Like, this is not a bad offensive team, guys, not by any stretch of the imagination. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Braves at plus 128, the Phillies at minus 152. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. We see Atlanta, they are 36 and 32 on the road, so that's pretty solid road numbers there. The Phillies are a great home team, though, guys, 44 and 23 at home. That's an MLB best mark at home this season. In terms of the over-under, it's only at 8.5, but we've got both teams showing trends towards the under here. Not massive trends. Atlanta 35, 29, and 4 to the under on the road, and the Phillies 34, 29, and 4 to the under at home. Generally speaking, in this game, guys, I'm leaning towards the Phillies minus 152 as the side. I do think that's pretty playable. I do think we're going to see good stuff from Sanchez in this one. Maybe not amazing stuff, as he's had some problems recently, and Atlanta's been hitting the ball well. In terms of the over-under, though, guys, I do think over 8.5 is very, very live in this spot. Sanchez has not been lights out recently, and he's had some struggles against the Braves. We also have seen Uncle Charlie have a lot of really, really tough starts against good hitting teams. So, yeah, getting to 9 runs in this game I don't think is going to be too much of a challenge, and if we see a terrible start by Morton, I think the Phillies are capable of getting to 9 runs all on their own. So go ahead and give me over 8.5 in this game. Definitely feels very, very live to me. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we are looking at the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Blue Jays come into this game fresh off of a tough outing yesterday, guys. 3-0 loss there for Boston. They just got absolutely shut down by Bellows. So, yeah, that's a tough spot for the Blue Jays, but we'll see if they can bounce back here. They did win game 1 of this series, and they're handing the ball in this game to Bowden Francis, who is he's sporting a 4.02 ERA. His last start was a great one against the Angels, though, guys. 8 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run allowed. He's been absolutely lights out over his last 4 appearances, all of which were starts. Great start against Baltimore, good start, but 2 good starts against the Angels, and a very good start against the Chicago Cubs. So a bit of a step up in competition here, going up against the Red Sox, but I think Francis is going to be ready for it. His only appearance against Boston this season was a bullpen appearance, and he was lights out over that 1 inning, so give him a little bit of credit there. Big concerns here for this bullpen, though, guys. The Toronto bullpen has been pretty freaking bad this season. They're 3rd worst in the majors with a 4.80 bullpen ERA. So, yeah, that's definitely something to be very, very cognizant of if you're thinking about betting on Toronto. In terms of their offense, they've scored 0, 3, 7, 8, 3, and 5 runs over their last few games. Obviously, the last couple have not been ideal. So, yeah, once again, looking at a Toronto offense that might be headed into its cocoon. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. continues to hit the ball well, but 19th in the majors in runs scored for this team, 18th in the majors in batting average. Like, just not really an elite offensive squad. So we'll see what they can do here against Boston, who comes into this game obviously fresh off of back-to-back wins. They really, really need to be putting in that work, though, guys. At 69 and 64 on the year, they've got tons and tons of work to do. They're handing the ball in this game to Cutter Crawford, who's 8 and 11 this season with a 4.19 ERA. His last start was against the Arizona Diamondbacks, a pretty tough opponent, guys, and he acquitted himself well. 5 innings, 3 hits, only 2 earned runs surrendered. Honestly, each of his last couple of starts have been pretty good despite going against tough opponents. How we look here against the Toronto Blue Jays, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. The last time he went up against them, he only pitched 1 1/3 innings. I can't remember why that game back on June 26th was shortened, but he was good over that 1 1/3, so we'll give him some credit there. But yeah, definitely kind of an unknown what we're going to get from him in this game. Also an unknown is what we're going to get from that Boston bullpen, which has been a problem for sure, almost as bad as that Toronto bullpen here down the stretch. The Red Sox, a 4.44 ERA coming out of the pen is obviously a very, very major concern. So we'll see what we get out of the Boston pitching staff in this one. We'll also see what we get from their offense that scored 3 runs in the last game. They haven't been swinging the hottest bats, guys. 3, 6, 3, 5, and 1 runs over their last few. 6th in the majors in runs scored, 4th in the majors in batting average. Like, this has been an elite offensive team over the course of the season. Just right now, not swinging the hottest bats. So, yeah, we'll see what we get out of them in this one. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, the odds makers are expecting another pretty close one. We've got Toronto at plus 118, the Red Sox at minus 134. We've got an over-under of 9 out there in this one. Toronto 31 and 37 on the road, but Boston 31 and 37 at home. Not a very good home team. No major trends towards the over-under here. Generally speaking, if you're forcing me to bet an over-under, I think I would maybe like under 9. But guys, in this game, generally speaking, I kind of like Toronto again at plus 118. I don't know if we're going to put it in the pinned comment again. Definitely seems like it's worth a look, though. That's a pretty good price, and I think we can safely expect a pretty close, pretty competitive game. So we'll see what we get in this one. Is it going to end up in the pinned comment? Definitely want to take a second and check. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road here to take on the Houston Astros. The Royals coming into this game fresh off of a tough 7-5 loss there at Cleveland in Game 4 of that series, but they won the first 3 in that series, so it has to feel pretty great for them. They're only a single game back in the AL Central now at 75 and 59 on the year. They're going to be hitting the ball to Brady Singer in this game, who's 9-9 this season with a 3.38 ERA. His last start, guys, was an absolute debacle against the Phillies. 5 innings, 11 hits, 5 earned runs in that game. Not his best stuff. A big letdown after a great start at the Cincinnati Reds. He has not been throwing his best stuff out there over his last few games. Definitely some concerns there. He does have a great start against Houston under his belt this season, but that was very, very early in the year. So yeah, kind of tough to know what to expect from him in this game. I'm a little bit concerned about him out there, and I'm definitely concerned about that Royals bullpen, guys. A 4.36 bullpen ERA is nothing to be very excited about. They haven't gotten better over the course of the season. They've actually gotten worse, so major concerns about their pitching situation in this game. In terms of their hitting, we're not too worried about the Royals, to be honest. They've scored 5, 6, 9, 4, and 3 runs over their last few. Bobby Witt Jr. absolutely killing it here down the stretch. The Royals are 5th in the majors in runs scored, 6th in the majors in team batting average, and 12th in the majors in on-base percentage. They're also a top 10 slugging percentage team. Like, this is a squad that can absolutely hit the ball. So we'll see what they can get done here against the Astros, who come into this game fresh off of a 10-0 win there in Game 3 of their series at Philadelphia. That was to salvage a single win there, so they'll take that. Arrighetti was lights out in that one, and at 71-62 on the year, they've got a 3.5 game lead over Seattle in the AL West. Houston's going to be hitting the ball to young Hunter Brown in this game. He's 11-7 this year with a 3.72 ERA. He's coming off of a very good start at Baltimore. 6 innings, 3 hits, only a single earned run allowed. He allowed 2 runs total. He did give up a home run in that one, but generally speaking, a very good start from him. And over his last 4, they've all been good starts against the Rangers, Boston, the White Sox, and the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll see how he looks here in this start against the Royals. He got absolutely shelled by them very, very early in the season, but guys, that was infinite ago, so can't really hold that over his head too much. We'll see what we get out of him in this one. We'll also see what we get from that Houston bullpen that's been very good this year, a 3.53 ERA right now, and I say very good this year. They weren't good in the early goings. They are very good now, though. So yeah, expecting decent stuff from the Astros pitching staff in terms of their offense. They're coming off of a game where they scored 10 runs, but they scored 10, 0, 2, 6, 2, and 5 over the last few games. Not an offense that I'm necessarily sold on here, guys. They're 13th in the majors in runs scored, despite being 3rd in the majors in batting average and 10th in on-base percentage. Just not an offense you can trust on a nightly basis. Are they going up against a tough pitching opponent, though? I would have to say no, so we'll see what we get out of them. Honestly, guys, this is a tough game for me to figure out. We've got the Royals at plus 132, the Astros at minus 150. We've got over-unders out there of 8.5 or 8. The Royals are 34-31 on the road. Houston is 35-29 at home. We've actually got both teams showing some very slight trends towards the under in this spot, but I'm not really too interested in the under, to be honest. I would lean more towards over 8 with 8.5s and 8s both being out there, so probably slightly lean towards over 8, and I think I've got to be on the Royals at plus 132 at this price. I don't trust Hunter Brown all the way, not that I trust Brady Singer either of those, so yeah, we'll just have to see what happens here. A lot of unknowns for me in this game. I think it's a long shot to end up in the pinned comment. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the LA Dodgers. The Orioles come into this game, well, they're currently playing right now, guys. The Orioles are down 4-6 there in the top of the 7th inning. They're going to be hitting the ball to young Cade Povich here in the 3 of this series. Povich is 1-6 on the year with a 6.10 ERA. He's coming off a very rough start against the Astros. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs allowed. He's had some bright moments this season, don't get me wrong, but yeah, not a starting pitcher that I'm super high on, and I would tend to doubt that the Orioles are super high on him either. In terms of their bullpen, Baltimore's had their problems as well. A 4.05 ERA coming out of the pen. Not nearly as bad as this team was a few weeks ago coming out of the bullpen, but still not looking great. And the offense hasn't been looking insane lately. I mean, they're in a game where they've currently scored 4 runs, so we'll give them some credit there. But 4, 3, 3, 3, 7, and 0 is not what we got used to seeing from this team early in the year. They used to be the top scoring team in the majors. They're still the top slugging percentage team, but overall, guys, this offense is having a bit of a struggle. So we'll see what we get out of them in this one. They're going up against the Dodgers, who come into this game 78-54 in the year. They'll be 79-54 in the year if they can hold on to their lead in their current game. They're going to be giving the ball to Bobby Miller, who's 1-3 this season with a 7.49 ERA. His last start was not a terrible one against Tampa Bay. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, but he gave up 2 home runs. He struck out 9 and walked 0, but against a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, you're definitely expecting a bit better stuff. Like, that's just not a great outing against a team that's struggled to put up any runs against pretty much everyone. So, yeah, guys, looking at the Dodgers bullpen, 4th best in the majors, a 3.55 ERA coming out of the pen is very, very legitimate stuff. So, expecting good stuff out of their bullpen, if not from their starting pitcher. In terms of their offense, they've been cruising along. Maybe didn't have a great time there in game 1 of this series, but over the course of the year, very, very good. They're 4th in the majors in runs scored, 10th in the majors in batting average. They're also a top 5 on base percentage team and a top 4 slugging percentage team. So yeah, obviously this is a offense that's just loaded with talent here. We've got Ohtani, we've got Mookie Betts, we've got Hernandez, like Freddie Freeman. Like, this is an absolutely elite offensive team. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Orioles at plus 140, the Dodgers at minus 160. We've got an over-under of 9.5 in this game. Baltimore 38-26 on the road. That is a very good road number, but the Dodgers are 43-23 at home. That's near MLB best at home. I'm definitely leaning towards the Dodgers in this game. Minus 160 seems a bit expensive if you ask me, but not out of this world. We've got an over-under of 9.5. We do see Baltimore is an MLB best 38, 23, and 3 to the over on the road, and we see the Dodgers are an over team at home as well, so over 9.5 is also very in play for me in this one. I don't love either one of these starting pitchers, and both teams can definitely hit the ball, and we don't trust that Baltimore bullpen. It's annoying that the Dodgers bullpen's pretty good, but still, guys, I think over 9.5, getting to 10 runs, not too big of a stretch in this one. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.